So I for the most part liked college
Yes.
/ liked because I'm almost technically done with it. But I feel like there's a lot of people that lived too much in the moment. Like there like college presents you with a lot of opportunities to mess up. Some mistakes are more consequential than others, and
Yes.
some people refuse to look at. Like some people act like you can tell immediately when you get to college the people that don't have an understanding of consequences. There's like no consequences exist whatsoever, and they get caught for something stupid, like leaving like a ton of drugs out for some reason.
Yeah.
Right.
Or, like,
those
cheating
those are the people where it's like you should plan ahead.
Yeah,
for
but
jail.
then those are kind of the old heads that end up being like hanging out at frat parties and never leaving the college scene because.
Yeah, that's weird, bro. Being old as shit and like still being and
Yeah.
partying in college.
Well, we know a decent amount of people like that though.
Yeah, I know. I know a couple.
Back to like college, like people who
Yeah.
are like that.
What?
That were in college and
Yeah.
then got
Well-
like in 25 or 26 and
Yeah.
going back.
Well, not going back for to study, just going back to
It
live
means-
that lifestyle, just to feel young again. Not that 25, 26 is not young. It's just like at that point.
Do you think it's because they weren't able to develop a social life outside of it, or do you think it's because they miss college so much?
I just think that they never let go that part of themselves, and they never allowed themselves to like mature. You know?
Okay, so I want to talk about this. This is a really big thing. So you and me had a lot of fun nights in college. Like really in 2020 before COVID hit, I think we lived like a year's worth of college in really 4 or 5 months from like November till the early beginnings of March of 2020. And we really enjoyed it. Like there would be random nights where I would come home from work. I would just text Mona, be like, yo, what's the wave? She'd be like, come through. I'd come through and it would just be a night. And that happened like every other day. And I actually, now that I'm done with college, and you're kind of done with that as well because of COVID, you can't go there. I've actually been struggling to let that go a little bit. Like there are nights where I'll stay up and I'll just go through my camera roll of like those moments and like really remember those moments and listen to the same songs that were playing during that time. Like, how do you think people should let it go? What like strategy should they use? And same for you, David. Like do you ever think about college nights and like get nostalgic?
Well, yeah, I definitely do. I'm gonna let you go first, and then I'll share something that I think kind of puts this in perspective for me. Because I don't have trouble letting it go, mostly because I never felt too attached, but I do reminisce on it fondly and sometimes miss it. It's just that I've seen my bad share of it, so it's been an amicable trade-off.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do we let go of memories in college?
Okay, so I feel like just in terms of like my friendships,
Yes.
definitely the time that I met you, like all the friends that I made, all the friends that are mutual friends.
Yeah.
You guys have probably been like the most impactful like on my entire life because
Wholesome.
yeah, because I feel like I've definitely had like a lot of different friend groups in college, and I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of them ended up fading just because of
Facts.
the nature of like our
Facts.
hangouts. It was not anything really like genuine.
Substantive.
Yeah, there wasn't really substance. Like for example, I feel like whenever we talk and we catch up, I always feel like super driven, and I feel like the creative juice is flowing just because we
Yeah.
kind of have that effect on one another.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas like my old friends in college kind of just had different goals. I don't even know if we could call them goals. They were just kind of, looking for short-term fun. And for me, it's like, yeah, that's like fun when you're young and when you're in college, but then we saw what the pandemic did to us, and it's like,
right.
those type of friendships are not sustainable, and it's like you kind of need friendships with more substance. So it's not so much as letting them go, it's kind of like strengthening those friendships and like seeing where they can take us.
Seeing where they can progress into the future. Because I think that was the
Yeah.
best balance between us. We enjoyed and lived in the moment, but we also thought about what life would be like post-college by just having creative juices
Yeah.
bounce off each other with
Yeah.
ideas of like totally random things. And I think that allowed us to develop a friendship that would sustain itself
Yeah.
even if we weren't hanging out every night. Which is important because there's people I don't talk to because we don't hang out anymore every
Yeah.
night. It's difficult to do that.
It's like interesting to see you guys come out of that. I mean, I know you're still in college, but like come out of that phase of like letting go. And I don't know if letting go is the right word, but it's more so progressing. And maybe you said it to the next level, right? So when I was in college, which feels like 100,000 years ago, I made really great friends in college, but I had multiple groups, like you said, right? And when I left college, the way I sustained those relationships, which was like really like 5 to 6 people and like 2 from like all of those groups, was knowing that those are the friends where it shouldn't just be when you are going out or you're in a social gathering. Like those friendships, like they're still friendships, but they're not going to be sustained over a long period of time. So know the group of friends that you do have, whether it's like 2 from this group or 2 from that, sustain it in terms of like going through struggles together.
But
right?
you said it's not about letting go. I feel like it is.
I think it's about, because those friends that I have that, you know, carried over from college, we progressed, like our friendship progressed. So it wasn't just about.
So you didn't have to let go.
Right. It's not.
So you didn't let go.
Well, metaphorically speaking, I guess we let go of, in terms of like our days of college, like the way we used to see each other every day.
Yeah.
We
The
let
convenience.
go of, right, the convenience. We let go of that idea of that. We didn't know what our friendship was going to look like 5 to 6 years from now. So
you didn't chase the constant social hangouts.
No,
and nights
we went through a lot of struggles together, right? So when we went through a lot of good times together, but we also went through a lot of bad times together. And I think that's what sustains friendships, is like how you, if you can go to those friends during all of the bad times as well as much as the good times. Like it developed into something something beautiful over time.
Almost
and
like a
we didn't
familial
realize
bond.
we didn't realize how it was developing, but it developed through those college days. And we can look back and think like, oh, we had these amazing days in college, but we're not chasing. We know it's never going to look like that again. I think it's a form of acceptance. Like, it's not going to look like an everyday hangout.
That's hard to do, bro. Because like I'm missing those nights like a lot right now.
You know what's weird? For me, it wasn't really the parties. So this is the weird thing. I was a part of this like program called, or I am still technically. I have trouble reconciling that. I am still part of this program called the HLLC.
Yeah.
And basically what they would do is they would have everybody that was a part of this program live on the same floor.
Is that honors?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Humble. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Isn't for honors, leadership,
Living
honors,
learning?
Yeah, honors, living learning community. So we would just all live on the same floor. And I remember for like 2 years it was the 7th floor. So we'd have a ton of parties on that floor, and there were like two or three rooms. I think it was like 712 and 714 that like ran the parties and stuff.
Right.
And my roommate actually met his girlfriend at a party.
Yeah.
They just like random. It was a very weird story, and I still actually for some reason have like a screen recording of it, or not like an actual recording of it. The moment they met, and then they like moved in a year later, and it was like mad wholesome. But for me, the thing I remember the most that like I have trouble letting go of sometimes is just like they worked really hard to build an atmosphere of camaraderie and often failed.
You mean the HLLC?
Yeah, like the administration, they would have us like do these things. Like the first night we went, they brought a drag queen. Like day one of being in college, they brought a drag queen to facilitate bingo, and the winner won a television for their room. That was the first day.
Honors kids just live lavish.
That's stuff in college you don't get.
I was like, who is this? And also, is this what college is gonna be like? I was like, this is great. But after that, you know, like every time they would try, they would like it would get cheesier and cheesier, the things they would do to try to like build a community. But we built a genuine community out of doing ridiculous things. Like I remember once a community event got canceled, so me and my roommate at the time, Devin, we got a bunch of these things called these like hot sauces from this show called Hot Ones. And we did like a spicy wing chow. So like we made wings for the entire floor. Somebody came in. He was on the track team. The week he came in, he ate the wings. We found him under his bed in the fetal position. And the week after, he quit the track team and began a double major. He now works at J.P. Morgan. So I like to think that we turned his life around because track wasn't going nowhere. And he's still fast, but you know now he's got job security. And then we did this like thing where the HLC encouraged everyone to be open, so we would all leave our doors unlocked. Which was stupid.
That's reckless. In your words, that's reckless.
Yeah, it was mad reckless. But what we would do is we'd play like a bunch of pranks where we would like. You remember? It was like around. Do you remember when it was like super popular to turn people's like book bags inside out?
Yes.
We would go into everyone's rooms.
Did you do that in high school?
I don't remember.
Bro, in high school when
everybody used to do that.
You would look away for 1 second in the cafeteria. Next thing you'd be like,
all your stuff.
Everything's on the floor. So you guys did that in college?
No, we took it one step further and we turned everybody's stuff. We literally turned their room upside down. My favorite thing I remember is somebody took the desk out of somebody's study and put it in their shower. And then somebody hung their mattress from the ceiling.
That's hilarious. Okay, so here's my question. So
I miss those.
All these memories that all of us are describing, is that worth paying the $100,000 for college?
No.
Because I was thinking about that.
I don't
today.
pay.
No?
I don't pay $100,000.
Right, you got the scholarship and stuff. But like, if you didn't get financial aid or a scholarship, would you look back on your life and be like, damn, if I had just taken out those loans, I would have had all these memories and experiences, or are those memories and experiences just not that tangible?
It's not just memories and experiences, though. It's like you're not gaining your independence, but you're learning how to be an individual.
Socially developing.
Yeah, exactly. Like separate from your family, because I know a lot of people who didn't go away from college and they're still very dependent on their family.
Yeah.
And they also don't really have a sense of personal identity. Like they don't really have a personality, you know?
I think college is really important for that social development thing. Because if I didn't go to college and I just stayed at home and be like, yeah, mom and dad, I'm just going to like not go to college and figure my own thing out. Yeah, you would have saved some money. And I know some is relative, but like the lack of social experiences I would have had that would allow me to develop the people that I'm like, I feel like you don't get that other than college. You just don't get that anywhere else.
Yeah, it's like an incubated social scene.
It's an incubated social.
In many ways, college is what they pretend preschool is. So
Right.
I have a niece that's like going to like preschool now, and a nephew as well, and they're like literally they don't learn anything. The only thing they learn how to do is like be in a room with kids, make friends, and don't hit each other in
actually
the face.
communicate. Yeah. Yep.
You know, I like that you compare it to preschool because people say that college is like the real world, and it's not the real world.
It's not the
It
real
is
world.
not. You're very protected, and it's
Very.
almost like preschool. It's like, does every kid go to preschool? Like, not every. I
No.
don't. I feel like a lot don't. It's optional, but it's like maybe they should, right? Like they should for like in terms of like the future. And I feel like that's the same thing for college. Like, is it mandatory for every single person? Like everyone takes their own path. However, there are benefits that are like long term that maybe we don't see in the moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You guys also like, you know, gotta show my loyalty. But in another podcast, you guys mentioned that like between I don't know 0 to 6 years old, like you don't learn anything or something. I think it was with Attica.
I said it.
That
Oh,
is
yeah,
not
yeah,
true.
yeah,
yeah. You did
That
say
is
that.
just not true because there is so much development. Those
So
are actually
much.
the most important
The most
years.
important years, yeah.
0 to 6.
Yeah,
For
maybe-
development.
No, she's right. You definitely in the womb, motherfuckers play like the guitar, so the kid can like
Yeah.
stimulate their intellectual
Yeah.
neurons or whatever.
And it's like
there's
you don't
studies that shit
remember.
works.
Like right now, I can't remember what I did on my 6th birthday or
Little bit.
whatever. Yeah, sorry. But it plays a monumental role in like the person that you are now.
Were y'all good kids at all?
I was a really good kid. We were good kids. We never cried or like were annoying. Like my mom tells us we were good kids.
Well, I was a good kid, but I was I cried a lot.
Oh no, you!
When
I
I
remember
was
what,
young.
you
Yeah.
were really dependent on mom. 'Cause
Yes, I was.
Mom told me if you would leave her for like if she would leave you for 2 seconds, you would cry your ass
Yeah,
off.
I would cry a lot, and I feel like that was a part of the process.
And that's kind of, honestly, that 0 to 6 thing makes sense because the other day, I'm gonna put you on blast. Our mom left to go do some errands, right? And me and her were just in the
God.
house, and she was like, "Where's mom?" I was like, "I don't know. She probably went out because her car wasn't home." And she was like, "Yeah, but where's mom?" I'm like, "I don't know." I was like, "You can call her." She's like, "Yeah, but why did she tell us she left?" I'm like, "Why the fuck does it matter that much, bro? She's a grown ass woman. She can go leave."
Yeah, parts of our personality when we're young definitely seep through. If that's the argument you're trying to make.
Do you think
like,
that's healthy
to your
that you're worrying
adulthood.
where mom is?
I think it's inevitable. Like I think it's.
But do you think
like-
it's healthy?
Not for him. He didn't care.
I think
He
but
was
it's
just
part
like,
of your
yeah, she left.
personality. Like I'm protective, so yeah, that's gonna seep through.
But
It depends on the level you take it. Like if you obsess over it, or if I like started texting her 50,000 times, like maybe that boundary will get crossed and it would become unhealthy.
So you think those are like traits that just like that grew up? So you think that for that those moments that where you were crying for your mom, that was just you being protective?
That would.
Because he called you dependent, and then you called yourself protective.
Yeah.
You
Maybe
try to
it
you try to
evolved.
you try to sneak it in
I
like we
think
did.
it
Yo, it's a good like,
I-
it's not protective. What logic is
I noticed that. I
You
was
try to
like,
make the switch like
What
he
are you
ain't just
protecting her
Is
from? What are you protecting her
is
from?
it that you're protective
You're
of
protecting her
her, or
from the
do you
cashiers
need
who have an
her?
attitude at Target? Like, what are you protecting her
Maybe
from?
it evolved from dependence to protective.
Okay.
Maybe.
Wait, how is it protective though? What, like,
I
what's
don't
the-
know. I just used that word because it sounded
So
better.
you-
Yeah,
use
because
the
it sounded
word-
better than being codependent. And
Yeah, I don't think that's
crybaby.
healthy. I'm not saying it's a bad trait. I'm just saying I probably have unhealthy traits. Like, but those are weird things that we pick up from when you're young.
Yeah.
I didn't need her that much when I was young, I guess, from 0 to 6, whereas you
Yeah.
did, and that carried over.
Yeah, I think I'm starting to, now that there's a baby around me, I'm really starting to pay attention to babies a little more. So I started asking my parents what I was like when I was a baby, and they were like, my mom described as, you were a tactical crier. I was like,
Oh, you were strategic.
I was like, what does that even mean? She was like, you would cry when you wanted things, and you knew how to. Basically, you knew that if we cried, we would do things. So I would cry, and there were some days where I would cry, and she would just run the gambit. It was basically like spin the wheel. I would cry, and she'd be like, maybe a change. She would try to change me. If it wasn't a change, I would cry some more, and then eventually she would just find the right thing. But apparently, I was just really, really good at crying for that.